Hey everyone, in this video we're going to implement a simple spring animation. We're going to take a button and add a little pop effect to it. You can use this in your own apps to add a little playfulness to the user experience. Okay, let's get started. Let's create a new file called springbutton.tsx, and inside let's create a component. And now in app.js, let's import our component and add it to the view hierarchy. Inside our component, let's scaffold out the view hierarchy. We'll want a container view. We'll also want a pressable to handle button tap events. We'll want a view inside our pressable so that we can style it, and then within that we'll want some text. Let's import those up at the top, and then we can add some text here, and you can see that it's displaying in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And now we can add some styles. So let's create a style sheet down here at the bottom. We'll have a container style, a button style, and some styles for the button text. Now we can apply those styles to each individual part of the view hierarchy. So in order to position our button in the center, we're going to want our container style to have flex 1, justify content center, and align items center. And for our button, let's give it a background color of purple. Let's give it a width of, say, 200 and a height of 80. And let's give it some roundness. Let's give it a border radius of 40. Let's also center the button text by grabbing justify content and align items from our container style. And for our button text, let's bump up the font size. And let's give it a color of white so that it stands out and is readable. And let's change the font just because I happen to like Menlo. Cool, so the button's looking pretty good now visually, but as you can see, nothing happens when we tap it. So let's add an on-press handler. We can leave that empty for the moment because now it's time to set up our animation. We're going to drive our animation using a reference that persists across render cycles to an animated value representing our button's scale. So let's go ahead and write that out up at the top. We'll pull in useRef from React and use it to store our value. Now, in order to dynamically apply our scale, we're going to pull in animated from React Native. And we'll make this an animated view here. And we'll apply our transform in the style prop. You'll notice that our button disappeared, and that's because initially our scale is set to 0. So we're going to pull in use effect, and there we'll set our button scale to 1. And from here, our animation is actually pretty straightforward. In handle button press, we'll trigger a spring animation. The end value is just going to be 1 because ultimately we don't want the button size to change. We'll set bounciness to 24, speed to 20, and we'll set useNativeDriver to true. Setting useNativeDriver to true allows the animation to be performed on the native layer's UI thread rather than the JS thread. This means that once the animation is started, the JS thread can be blocked and the animation will still run smoothly. You'll notice now that if we tap our button, it doesn't actually do anything, and that's because the initial value and the end value of the animation are the same. So our last step is going to be to reduce the button scale just before triggering our spring animation. So let's set animated scale to 0.8 right here. Cool. At this point, I think our animation is looking pretty good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in another video soon.